Well, welcome back to Onco-Innovations, channeling new hope in cancer therapy. And joining to discuss, we have Thomas, the CEO, and Paul, the co-founder of Inca Health AI, to take us through the investor deck today. First and foremost, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. It's always good to be back and always good to see you, Kyle.
Yeah,
Great to be here.
always a pleasure to get you guys on. So I'm going to pass the reins over to you to kind of take us through this.
Absolutely. And let me just say, not only to you, but to our listeners and to our viewers, how much we appreciate the opportunity to talk about Onco-Innovations in a bit more detail. We've had two really great spots together, and we're on an exciting journey. And this journey now includes our partners from Inka Health AI. And together, we will substantially improve the ability to diagnose and treat cancer worldwide. Listen, I often talk about the work that I've done over my career in healthcare and life sciences as work that has one common denominator, has one thing that is fundamental, and that is that I am committed to driving transformative change in healthcare and in life sciences, and to create value and to bring that change and to bring that promise to the bedside. It's a very personal passion for me. And I will say, sadly, cancer has touched us all in some way. And with Onco-Innovations, we have some very transformative change in front of us, some truly breakthrough possibilities to slow and possibly stop cancer in its progression. And we're very excited to share more about that, what it looks like, where we are in our journey. And I'm also excited to have my sidekick, Dr. Paul Arora, with us today. So, Paul, maybe share a little bit about your passion, and then we'll take the listeners and the viewers through the material.
Yeah, absolutely happy to. Thank you very much, Thomas. I'm certainly happy to be on the meeting today. Certainly echoing your point that cancer is certainly something that's touched my life personally. So I'm very excited to be part of this. And I've spent 2 decades in health and pharma consulting. My journey's taken me through 2 startup exits and dozens of epidemiology projects, and really all of that had the same goal, which was how do we leverage smart technology to use data better? And today, we're applying that playbook to our shared vision for cancer drug development so that effective drugs can get to patients faster. So I'm really, really excited about what we're going to be able to do together.
That's brilliant. And so, when we talk about Onco-Innovations and Inca Health AI, I like to emphasize three things. You can see, I think, 4 points on the slide, but I'll emphasize three, and they all revolve around our mission-driven innovation. And these are threads throughout our presentation. We have a proprietary drug portfolio that is a completely new class of cancer therapy through our patented PNKP inhibitors. It's really a novel mechanism of action that works to augment existing cancer therapies. So think chemotherapy, radiotherapy. We also use nanoparticle packaging. And now we have AI integration to enhance our ability to identify patients who will benefit most from our therapeutics, and then enable us to expand those therapeutics much more quickly and much more definitively to other cancer types. I like to say that we are on an accelerated path towards commercialization. And what that means really too is it's an accelerated path towards treatment in what is a very aggressive and significant growth market. So on that point, the growth potential here is significant. And I always like to locate where we're playing in the broader context. I think on our first spot, Kyle, I mentioned what we're seeing in terms of global cancer cases and global cancer rates. They're projected to rise by about 47 to 48% by 2040. And this is despite all of our best efforts, we continue to experience treatment gaps in precision medicine and early diagnostics. So what does this mean? Well, it means a lot of energy is going into enhancing treatment, and that's a good thing. On the global industry market size, you can see the chart and the table on the slide. McKinsey's run these numbers. It's almost a $500 billion industry for oncology. And global colorectal cancer therapeutics, that's about an $18 billion market of that alone. When you look at the CAGR, so when you look at the curve on the global solid tumor cancer treatment market, it's about 8 to 11% CAGR over the course of the next 10 years. So what does this tell us? This tells us there's a significant focus, and there needs to be, on how to successfully treat solid tumors. So where are we starting in all of this? We're starting with colorectal cancer. And we're starting with colorectal cancer for a number of reasons. Well, first, because our recent animal studies demonstrated very promising results for therapeutic improvement. And I'm going to talk about those in just a minute. But also consider this. 700,000 deaths are attributed to colorectal cancer every year. This is worldwide. It affects 1.9 million people annually, and more than 25,000 Canadians are diagnosed with colorectal cancer every year. This represents about 10%, if you can imagine this, of all the new cancer cases. I did a spot with Stu McNish on Conversations That Matter at the beginning of Colorectal Cancer Month last month, and I shared this stat. It's a sobering one. Approximately 90% survival rate for early stage diagnosis. That's a good thing. 14% for late stage. That's not so much. Colorectal cancer is very much a candidate for precision medicine and for a precision medicine-based approach to treatment. And that's where we're going to focus first. But as we talk a bit more about our solution and our technology, we believe our therapy also has potential for use in other cancer types due to the role of PNKP in DNA repair. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? I talk about this a lot. Paul and I talk about this a lot. The main challenge facing cancer treatments to date has been resistance of tumors to therapy. So here's how it works. We all have the capacity to repair damaged DNA. In cancer treatment, we use powerful agents that kill cancer cells. They also harm healthy cells sometimes, but those cancer cells are hard to destroy because DNA repair mechanisms work to prevent it. So what we want to do, what we want to prevent, what we want to inhibit is for the DNA repair in those cancer cells to take form. So we're really focused on identifying the right treatment through rich genomics data, advanced analytics, which Paul will talk about in a moment, with precision therapeutics. That's how we believe will really change the game and help move to the next level of therapeutic interventions. So let me just talk a little bit about our solution. Our solution has two component parts. It's focused exclusively on targeting cancer cells, eliminating them, and preventing their regrowth. Polynucleotide kinase phosphatase. Once you say that more than 50 times, it doesn't become a mouthful anymore. But this is the inhibitor. This is the class of inhibitors that helps make cancer cells much more susceptible to treatment. We have an exclusive license belonging to a new class of PNKP inhibitors, A83B4C63. And as I said, these inhibitors are effective against various cancer types. We'll talk a little bit about this in a minute. In addition to colorectal, we're looking at GBM, we're looking at ovarian, we're looking at prostate. PNKP synergizes with other tumor suppressing genes. You can see P10 is highlighted on the slide there. In other words, think about it this way. You knock out the PNKP, you knock out the P10 cancer cells. Secondly, we're targeting those cancer cells much more specifically through nanoparticle encapsulation to vastly improve therapy and effectively deliver more payload of that drug to the tumor. So the bottom line is here we have more effective drug delivery, we have precision treatment, and we're taking a multimodal approach. So Onco-10 is the novel inhibitor. So the next generation drug formulation. It's the novel inhibitor of the repair enzyme PNKP. It's in the nanoparticle formulation, and it's based on our drug delivery technology. It works, as I've said, by inhibiting PNKP. That disrupts the DNA repair and makes those cancer cells much more susceptible to damage from chemotherapy and radiotherapy. It also induces this thing called synthetic lethality, in PTEN deficient cells, leading to cancer cell death. So our preclinical studies demonstrated very promising results here. Our in vitro studies on human colorectal carcinoma cells showed effectiveness in delaying DNA repair and increasing DNA damage, which is what we want. And our in vivo studies, so these are our mice studies, confirmed safety, tolerability, and no significant toxicity. So these are all very important to help to position us to go forward. As I said, it's scalable across multiple cancer types and supported by 5 long-term patents. So a bit about our preclinical validation and our animal studies. You can see 2 graphs on this slide. I've got the slide on one side here, one with lines, and other one has colorful mice. So as I said, very promising results have been proven out in several animal studies of colorectal cancer in mice. So the first one, you can see the nanoparticle formulation of the A83. Now this is as a single agent. It significantly reduced the growth of tumors, extended the lifetime of the tumor-bearing mice. In the second graph, you can see a significant impact when that nanoparticle formulation was combined with radiation. So you can see the colors on the tumors in the mice, significantly slowing those and performing significantly better than the radiation treatment with low toxicity, I might add, and significantly improving the survival rates. So there's a very, very promising set of results. It's really what's helping set us up for our next critical step in our development, which is moving to phase 1 clinical trial to get this to the bedside and to get this to the clinic. And so now what does that all look like? Where are we going next? It's a very defined roadmap and a regulatory path forward. We know the steps that we need to go through. First and foremost, we're strengthening our preclinical data for our PNKP technology. That includes Onco-10 using validated cancer models, and then we'll be working with our pharma partners to advance those assets into the trials. Our roadmap. I'm being very, very bullish on the timelines. I often say to people who ask me about our roadmap and why I'm being so bullish, I'm being a bull. I'm being bullish in a good way, though, because we've got tremendous momentum. And we IPO'd in November, latter part of November of 2024. There's been a great response from that listing. The partnerships that we've established are excellent. We've got some of them underway right now. We've signed our drug manufacturing agreement with Dalton Pharma, a very proudly Canadian CRO for the synthesis and the scale up of the A83, as well as for the nanoparticle formulation. I mentioned GBM. We're initiating immediate discovery investigation right now with the Cross Cancer Institute in Alberta, the University of Alberta, to look at GBM as a potential indication. And this is important, it's exciting, and it's very promising given the existing limited therapeutics that exist for GBM. This may have the opportunity to help us move through fast track status, which we're excited about. And we're in the process right now of finalizing discussions with 2 CROs for our GLP animals and the phase 1 clinical trial. And we need to get the required IND applications in place with the Health Canada, with FDA, with other regulatory bodies, because we are looking for this to be made in Canada, but also to have a global reach. And our goal is to get these applications submitted this year, 2025, so that we can commence our phase 1 clinical trial shortly thereafter. Let me just say a brief word about the team. It's an incredible team. And I want to just touch on it. You can see, if you can read it, a snapshot of their expertise and their experience on our board. This is our board, our CFO, myself, broad company, public company experience, lots of C-suite, very industry rich. One of the reasons why I got behind the venture is because of the team, the science and the team. And you can see Dr. Richard Heinzel there in the middle. CEO of MyNext Health, founder with Doctors Without Borders in Canada, Zach Stadnick, former head of life sciences at the TSX in Toronto. And then when we move to our scientific and clinical advisory board, what you can see here is our founding scientists. They're right at the top here from the University of Alberta Cancer Institute. They're all members of our advisory board. And so the point that I like to make to our partners and to our shareholders and to our investors is there's such a strong synergy between the scientific foundation of the company and where we're taking the business to get this therapeutic into the clinic and into the bedside. That's an incredibly important thing. We built out the scientific advisory board further to include Dr. John Mackey, Dr. Islam Mohammed. You might recognize John Mackey. He's got extensive experience in drug development here in Canada, co-founder of Paysalix Pharmaceuticals, other ventures. Islam Mohammed, a radiation oncologist from the BC Cancer Research Institute. He now chairs our scientific and clinical advisory board. And Dr. Michael Locke, professor in the Department of Oncology and Medical Biophysics at the University of Western Ontario in London. So just an amazing team. And what I would say is where we find ourselves now is building upon that with the Inka Health AI acquisition and their amazing team, because we know that AI will play a critical role in accelerating the positive impact of precision medicine on cancer therapeutic development and treatment. We know that. And the other thing we know, and I know it because I've seen it, and Big Pharma has seen it, and others have seen it, Inka is pioneering the use of AI-driven analytics, so that I can just say how thrilled we are with this partnership. You can see some of the acquisition details on the slide. I believe that the partnership will really strengthen our precision medicine capabilities, our AI capabilities, help us supercharge our strategic partnerships with pharma and world-class research organizations. And Paul will talk a little bit more about those existing relationships, which are extraordinary, and ultimately to help us accelerate our roadmap in AI-powered drug development. So with that, and I promised Paul I wouldn't go on too much today, I'm going to hand it over to him, and he'll tell you a little bit more about the Inka Health AI team and some of the really cool things that they're doing there.
Sure, happy to speak to that. Tell you a little bit about the Inca Health team. The leadership team at Inca Health, now embedded with Onco, are globally recognized experts in their field, and we have deep experience engaging with, selling into pharma, and we understand their pain points. Myself, you've met Dr. Stephen Jones, Senior Scientific Advisor, is an internationally recognized expert in cancer genomics and bioinformatics. With over 500 publications, he's done seminal research, truly seminal research in cancer genomics and how that can be used to target therapy. He's a Canada Research Chair in Computational Genomics at the University of British Columbia and Director of Bioinformatics at Genome BC. So we're really, really thrilled to be working with Steve on a multitude of projects. Dr. Winston Chung is a medical advisor and sits with Inca Health as well. He's an oncologist specializing in gastrointestinal cancers. He's a professor at the University of Calgary with over 300 publications, and he heads up the Oncology Outcomes Research Group with an active area of research and AI applications for synthetic data and real-world oncology. He sat on numerous advisory boards for Big Pharma and very much understands how they think and their pain points as well. Finally, we have James Orbinski. He's a scientific advisor. He's an officer of the Order of Canada. He's received the Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of Médecins Sans Frontières while he was president of MSF's International Council. James has a wide and deep network of clinical, high-impact clinical scientists working on applied research around the world. So that provides a tremendous opportunity for us to plug into that network. And we are also working with other high-impact scientific advisors. Edward Mills, Christian Thorland are also advisors to Onco Health, Onco-Innovations Inka Health, And in addition to being some of the most highly cited scientists in the field of health research, they have several successful company exits as individual founders. So that makes them extremely valuable advisors for industry work. I can tell you a little bit about SynoGraph, which is the platform that we're developing to help facilitate cancer drug development. And I'll tell you a little bit about what it does. Basically, if you think about our understanding of cancer, it is that it's a very heterogeneous disease. Indeed, there's a lot of hidden diversity in cancer. So although tumors may look identical under a microscope, each carries its own mix of genetic mutations and molecular drivers. And by digging into that genetic code alongside a patient's prior treatments, characteristics, outcomes, and so on, we can attempt to predict which drugs will actually hit the target rather than guessing. And so we want to use that to make trials smarter and leaner. So traditional trials lump patients together, creating the potential for noise and ultimately slowing down approvals. Precision design, by way of what SynoGraph analytics can introduce, means selecting participants based on their tumor's molecular profile and treatment history so that each cohort is enriched for likely responders. That cuts time potentially and cuts cost. The vision for SynoGraph as a platform is that it will pull in genetics, drug exposure history, biomarkers, clinical features, and others, then apply advanced algorithms to identify subgroups with the highest probability of benefit. So this AI-powered or AI-enabled patient matching will result in faster decisions, fewer dead-end arms, and ultimately more lives impacted per trial that Onco-Innovations runs. This slide is quite busy, but really I just wanted to make a few key points about how SynoGraph would work and our vision for it. A key point is that rich data can fuel insight. So we plan on capturing everything around a cancer patient's journey, both in terms of their genetic sequencing, both somatic and tumor, pathology reports, imaging scans, treatment history, and even biomarker panels. And we'll funnel that into our SynoGraph platform. The depth of that information is what would let us see the subtle patterns that may not be apparent and allows for more accurate prediction of treatment response. And so rather than having sort of a mixed bag of patients in your trial, our algorithms in the SynoGraph platform would allow us to carve out distinct groups, those most likely to benefit and those unlikely to, so that we can know exactly who to enroll in each trial arm. And finally, there is an efficiency that can be gained through this precision stratification by pre-sorting patients based on multidimensional or multimodal data. Trials become leaner and faster, and you spend resources only on the patients with the highest probability of response, accelerating readouts and reducing costs. So that precision stratification will be a key component of what SynoGraph can bring to bear. In terms of some of our existing relationships with pharma and data partners, let me just say a few quick words. We're certainly very excited to leverage our leadership team's deep ties to pharma. Indeed, for Inka Health, we were barely a year old as a startup when we secured our first contract with a top 20 pharma company, that was AstraZeneca. It helped them, the work was aimed around helping them understand the power and the promise of real-world data and how it could help them communicate treatment efficacy and value. And indeed, we're continuing that work with AstraZeneca for knowledge translation and demonstration projects on the use of advanced analytics to rapidly ingest medical information of different types from literature for regulatory purposes. And because we already have a relationship with Big Pharma from the get-go, they're watching us grow, they're watching us develop, and by executing on the plan that Thomas has elucidated, will increase our likelihood of positive attention from larger pharma firms, and I think that's very important. One point about data relationships, we've talked a little bit about bold analytics and cutting-edge analytics approaches, but bold analytics needs to be married to rich data to make our vision come to life. And the high quality data, we often say, is really the fuel for the algorithmic fire, so to speak. So in our immediate stages in the development of the platform, we plan to work with rich data partners, two of which are described here. Quantify Research is a 26 million patient large Nordic data holder representing patients from 5 Nordic countries with lifetime follow-up, covers about 150 million patient years, and they currently service 19 of the top 20 global pharmaceutical companies. And then BC Cancer's Precision Oncology Group. The Precision Oncology Group has one of the largest tumor genomics databases in Canada, and it's very rare to have unique access to that level of rich omics data for precision oncology drug development. We believe that's going to allow for much more detailed analysis, and that others will not be able to replicate that type of analysis so easily. So there's lots to be excited about, both from the partnership front and the data part, the pharma partnership front and the data partnership front. And so with that, I'll turn it back to Thomas to speak about the combined entity.
So when I think about the combined entity, and thanks so much, Paul, there's a lot more to talk about there, and we'll have more opportunity to get together on these calls and others to get into the details. But here's how we sort of see it. We see it as an opportunity to bring unmatched oncology innovation to the market. That's first and foremost. Paul stepped you through what we talk about and what we mean when we talk about an AI accelerated path to commercialization through SynoGraph and through advanced analytics and through the Inka Health AI platform. I'm extremely excited about what we can do with this platform to help accelerate our clinical trials, their success, and ultimately get to approvals much quicker. I also like what it does to help accelerate our R&D capabilities because we believe there's an opportunity to expand the application of PNKP and Onco-10 beyond colorectal cancer. Not to mention, we've got a completely new class of therapy for solid tumors through our PNKP inhibitors. What we have together here, I think, is ultimately a powerful new asset that we can take to the market and offer as a service. Because remember, our goal is to get the right therapeutic into the clinic, into the bedside, into patients just as quickly as we possibly can. Now, what's it going to take in order to do that? Well, we are a listed company for a reason, and so our comp set's very interesting. It's not homogeneous, given our asset composition. Let me say a couple things about our comp set. Drug discovery is complex, it's challenging. Getting them to the clinic, getting them to the bedside can be a very long and windy and complicated road. But we have assets here that can create truly precision-based medicines with, in my view, an unmatched level of genomic, oncologic, AI expertise, and precision medicine data sets with real patient data to get it done faster and with much more success. This is how we line up based on a view of some of our select peers. You see biotech firms in the mix here with a focus on drug development for solid tumor therapeutics, some with AI capabilities. We've got significant growth potential based on our current valuation, the assets, our roadmap, where we already stand with some of our pharma partnerships. And we're undervalued at this stage of our development. I get asked that question a lot. Are you undervalued? I say, you bet we're undervalued. But we need to keep accelerating our roadmap, given where the market is going with AI, with drug discovery and drug development. And so as we wrap up here, what does this look like? Well, here's a high-level view. And this high-level view of where we're going is powerful in a number of ways. It's powerful because it shows a significant amount of effort that's taken place since our public listing. What it doesn't show is all the effort that took place since, let's say, about 2009, when the PNKP inhibitor was first identified by Dr. Weinfeld and his colleagues at the Cross Cancer Institute, the patents that followed, and the 2015 collaboration with Dr. Lavisanafar to develop the micellular packaging. I often say to our team and to those that I'm speaking with about our company is that we stand on the shoulders of the science that came before us, and we'll stand on the shoulders of those scientists and the research that will come after us. Our focus is to be able to stand on those shoulders. And in order to do that, over the next 6 to 18 months, that's going to be a critical time for us. So we're going to, as you can see from the graphic, continue our preparations for phase one, continue to work with Dalton, our preclinical testing and our clinical translation CRO partners. We're going to fully integrate Inka Health AI, further develop our pharma and our research partnerships. And then, as you can see there in 2026, uplist to a US exchange in due course. There is a lot to do, right? There's a lot to do to continue to develop Onco-10, expand that to additional indications, fund the ongoing development of SynoGraph, to get to a place with SynoGraph where we're optimizing it for scalability, where we're at a place where we can use it for Onco-Innovations and then fully commercially roll it out. So there's not going to be a lot of rest for the team. I often say this. So I don't sleep much myself, but the team tries to get a little bit more perhaps than me. But I can't tell you how grateful I am for where we are at this moment. We've got some very powerful opportunity here to make change and give patients hope. And it's for all the reasons you can see on the slide and that I've talked about and will continue to talk about. And what I'd say is I welcome all of you to be in touch with us, to learn more, to join us on this very exciting journey at Onco-Innovations to deliver life-saving therapeutics through precision medicine and AI technology. I think we'll leave it there today. Thanks, Paul. And Kyle, back to you.
I mean, on that note, we'll pass it off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think in that comment section below, and consider subscribing for news catalysts as it comes down the wire. Of course, we're going to bring it to you here. But on that, we look forward to catching you in the next one.